Hey, bitches! I'm back, and I wanted to do this thing. I saw on Amazon that Arteza had both like a Artist Loft watercolor set and a kids watercolor set. The kids one included the paper, and the Artist Loft one didn't, so I got that extra because you can never have enough watercolor paper. Also, I noticed that the kids thing said premium and the other one said like basic, so I don't know what that means. Anyway, here's me sketching. I had some thumbnails, some ideas. For some reason, I wanted to go with a jungle themed something, and didn't really turn out the way I wanted it. This is the sketch I ended up going with, and here's a glitch in the video. Don't worry, it's gone. It's gone now. Yeah, and then I just transferred the sketch onto both of the papers with my light box. Here I am just transferring it, and first I wanted to do it like with a erasable colored pencil first, but then I was like, nah, you know what? I don't want to draw this thing like 4 more times because I was gonna do line art, and so I was just like, let's go directly into the line art with this pen. Yeah, and so I went into the line art, and it was super scary, super scary. It's not that different from doing things with just like a light sketch underneath, but it's so scary because there's nothing on this paper to support it. Yeah, that was the kids set, and now I'm unpacking the Artist Loft. And immediately I noticed that the paper of the Artist Loft was a lot thicker. Like, I think the difference is like 100 GSM. The kids one is 200 and the Artist Loft is 300 GSM. So yeah, it's a thick boy. I like it a lot. It's very nice. And yeah, doing the line art again. And I just wanted to show some different part of the line art. Anyway, here I'm gonna start to color. And there's both the sets, side to side. When I opened the kids one, it just immediately came apart. I'm like, bitch. Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. Then I filled the water brush, and also immediately noticed that this water brush was leaking. Like, I don't know if you can see. I can see because I know where it's supposed to be. Like, it's dripping out of the part where it connects the barrel to the brush, and that's not great. That's not supposed to happen. Anyway, I then swatched all my colors, and you don't have to see all of that because just, yeah, I rubbed my hands over it and it wasn't chalky at all, which was surprising because these watercolor cakes tend to be super chalky, and the way that the dry, like the pigment where I went over it with like in the pan though, like in the pan where I went over it with water for the first time, it like didn't really dry, or it dried but it looked darker, and that's usually a sign of stuff being chalky. But that wasn't the case, and I was pretty impressed by that, to be honest. Yeah, then I'm just going in to the painting, just put in some skin color. They have one skin color in there, and that's pretty cool to have just a basic skin color. And I did just put it on there and then went over it with some brown. I wanted to do this jungle scene because I don't use greens and browns a lot. If I'm honest, like I use a lot of purples and that kind of stuff just because I like those colors better. So I wanted to do something that I usually wouldn't do, and just like test those colors out and prepare them. Wait, no, what? Compare them. That's the word. Compare, prepare. It's all the same. Compare these two sets against each other because I was interested in seeing how different they were or how not different they were. And yeah, see, I'm just doing the kids one right now. Well, it's cheap watercolor, and you know, there's not really a lot to say about it. It's okay. Like, I would definitely use it again, and I would recommend it because it was like, I think the whole set was like 20 euros or something. So, you know, it's fine. Oh, the hair. For some reason, I could not take off the pigment that I'd put down, so it just became this weird dark. Like, I wanted it to be this vibrant blonde, but it's just weird. Like, that's the thing I've noticed though. Like, you can't really take off pigment again. Like, the pigment goes down, but it doesn't come off again. Like, that's the thing that might not matter to most people, but like, when you fuck up, it's nice to be able to get the pigment off again. And that's not really possible with these paints. So, that's that, you know. Yeah, and yeah, doing some bushes in the background. It's lots of green. I like they're okay greens, like the sap green, I guess, that I'm using here, or olive green. I don't know. It's a pretty cool green, and I did use all of the greens at some point, like all of the greens in this set, and they're greens, you know. Thinking about it, I probably should have done something with colors that I'm more familiar with and that I use more, like with professional grade watercolors. I use student grade watercolors for the most part. But, you know, I had this idea, and oh, let me tell you, when I was looking for reference for like some trees or some like inspiration for like jungle girls, and I googled jungle girl, that's apparently like a TV show or like a fucking comic or something. I was not aware of that. And then I was like, okay, maybe Jungle Woman, and that was a thing too. Like, I just missed that entire thing. That's an entire culture I missed. I also saw a lot of very unrealistic proportions and some questionable imagery, if you know what I mean. You do know what I mean. Yeah. So I'm nearing the end of this painting. I did, like, Jesus Christ. I did kind of fuck up and cut off the last bit of this recording, but it's just like mini details, and you'll see them in the other painting because it's the same thing. Jesus, shut up. Okay. Yeah, so that's the other watercolor palette, and you might be thinking, well, they look pretty similar so far, and that's what I was thinking, and I was like, okay, let's give this a chance. So I did my swatches. They look pretty dang similar. Like, you know, it's just pretty dang similar. You might even think they're the same fucking palette, and at this point I was like, fuck, this is gonna be boring as hell, because it's just the same palette. But then I was like, what if it's not? Maybe, like, when using it, it feels different. And it did feel different because I think it's a different water brush. Like, they kind of, like, they look basically the same, but they have, like, a slight difference in color. And the one that came with the artist grade one definitely, like, didn't leak. However, the little brush that came with the artist one, you saw that just a sec ago, like, the little brush lost bristles like crazy. Like, honestly, it was annoying. Like, I was constantly picking out the bristles, and like at some point it just stopped doing that. So, like, thank you, but like, what the fuck? Why you even do this in the first place? But you know, that's just a thing. I think that was a manufacturing thing, and I'm not sure what makes water brushes leak. I have two other cheap water brushes that also do that, And I think it's just the plastic around the like screwy part of it that just, if it's too bendy, it will let the water go out and just like make your hands real wet, and we don't want that. The feeling of constantly having damp hands when painting with watercolors is just not nice, because you think you spilled paint on yourself, but it's just water. Kind of zoomed out a bit too far for this part, for this painting, generally for the second painting. But you know, you cannot just see my little nice paper towel and my desk and the shadow that the tripod and the camera are making. Oh, talking about camera, bitch! I got a new camera and I got a new tripod. Oh, bitch! I don't think it makes that much of a difference in this kind of video when it's all sped up and shit. Because the other camera I had was also like 4K HD. But this is just like, it's a better camera for photos. Like, I just mainly wanted this for photos, but it also does videos, and that was a very important part to me. And hell yeah, it's a good camera. Love it. Loving it. With the skirt and like the outfit in general on this painting, I kind of didn't match the colors from the first one. And the way I did this painting in general was like, I was trying to match the colors from the first one, so that's why it ended up totally different, because I didn't use the same technique. Like, instead of trying to match the technique I used, I tried to match the colors that came out. So it's kind of weird, you know. And looking at them like next to each other, you can kind of tell a difference. But especially when you like showed the first one first and the second one after, like the values very much shift from the first one to the second one. Like, they're different in the first one than in the second one. And that's probably because I also did the stuff in another order. Like with this one, I did like the figure first and then did the entire everything else, and with the other one, I did mostly like background stuff first, and then the figure was a bit later in the video. Yeah, I'm just finishing this bitch up, and especially with this weird olive sap green, you can see that it's the same palette. Like, I was hoping, but like, it's the same palette. Let's just be real. And now I'm done, just adding some highlights, and now we're setting up the direct comparison. So there's the bitches. That's this video. So if you want some beginner watercolors, I do recommend these Arteza ones. Like, they're good. Yeah, you can see a comparison here. Judge for yourself. The left one is kids and the right one is artist. Me. Yes, and goodbye. Stuff.